have you?
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Artist Reads the Bible. Today we're going to be starting with Genesis 41. 41 is quite lengthy, and 42 is also quite lengthy. So, well, we know we're going to at least do 41. We shall see after that how I feel. Something. I know I had something on my glasses. Excuse me just a second. Good enough. Okay, as usual, got my highlighter, got my decaf Java juice, and I got the living word of God right here. Get these spectacles off. Give me a little sip of Java juice here, and we shall get started. Rub my eyes. What time is it? Oh, that's why. It's almost my bedtime. Let's proceed, shall we? Pharaoh's dreams. 2 full years later, Pharaoh dreamed he was standing on the bank of the Nile River. In his dream, he saw 7 fat, healthy cows come up out of the river and begin grazing in the marsh grass. Excuse me. Then he saw 7 more cows come up behind them from the Nile, but these were scrawny and thin. These cows stood beside the fat cows on the riverbank. Then the scrawny, thin cows ate the 7 healthy fat cows. At this point in the dream, Pharaoh woke up. I bet he did. But he fell asleep again and had a second dream. This time he saw 7 heads of grain, plump and beautiful, growing on a single stalk. Then 7 more heads of grain appeared, but these were shriveled and withered by the east wind. And these thin heads swallowed up the 7 plump, well-formed heads. Then Pharaoh woke up again and realized it was a dream. The next morning, Pharaoh was very disturbed by the dreams. So he called for the magicians and wise men of Egypt. They're not going to do you any good. When Pharaoh told them his dreams, not one of them could tell him what they meant. Finally, the king's chief cupbearer spoke up. "Today I have been reminded of my failure," he told Pharaoh. "Some time ago you were angry with the chief baker and me, and you imprisoned us in the palace of the captain of the guard. One night the chief baker and I each had a dream, and each dream had its own meaning. There was a young Hebrew man with us in the prison who was a slave of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he told us what each of our dreams meant. And everything happened just as he had predicted. I was restored to my position as cupbearer, and the chief baker was executed and impaled on a pole." Ouch. Pharaoh sent for Joseph at once, and he was quickly brought from the prison. After he shaved and changed his clothes, he went in and stood before Pharaoh. Somebody's car is loud. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I had a dream last night, and no one here can tell me what it means. But I've heard that when you hear about a dream, you can interpret it." Well, it's God doing it, but yeah. "It is beyond my power to do this," Joseph replied, "but God can tell you what it means and set you at ease." Well, see, it's God doing it through Joseph. So Pharaoh told Joseph his dream. "In my dream," he said, "I was standing on the bank of the Nile River. I saw 7 fat, healthy cows come up out of the river and begin grazing in the marsh grass. But then I saw 7 sick-looking cows, scrawny and thin, come up after them. I've never seen such sorry-looking animals in all the land of Egypt. These thin, scrawny cows ate the 7 fat cows, but afterwards you wouldn't have known it, for they were still as thin and scrawny as before. Then I woke up. In my dream, I also saw 7 heads of grain, full and beautiful, growing on a single stalk. Then 7 more heads of grain appeared, but these were blighted, shriveled, and withered by the east wind. And the shriveled heads swallowed the 7 healthy heads. I told these dreams to the magicians, but no one could tell me what they mean." Joseph responded, "Both of Pharaoh's dreams mean the same thing. God is telling Pharaoh in advance what he is about to do. The 7 healthy cows and the 7 healthy heads of grain both represent 7 years of prosperity. The 7 thin, scrawny cows that came up later and the 7 thin heads of grain withered by the east wind represent 7 years of famine. This will happen just as I have described it, for God has revealed to Pharaoh in advance what he is about to do. The next 7 years will be a period of great prosperity throughout the land of Egypt. But afterward there will be 7 years of famine, so great that all the prosperity will be forgotten in Egypt. Famine will destroy the land. This famine will be so severe that even the memory of the good years will be erased. It means that these events have been decreed by God, and he will soon make them happen. Therefore, Pharaoh should find an intelligent and wise man and put him in charge of the entire land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh should appoint supervisors over the land and let them collect 1/5 of all the crops during the 7 good years. Have them gather all the food produced in the good years that are just ahead and bring it to Pharaoh's storehouses. Store it away and guard it so there will be food in the cities. That way there will be enough to eat when the 7 years of famine come to the land of Egypt. Otherwise, this famine will destroy the land." Joseph's suggestions were well received by Pharaoh and his officials. So Pharaoh asked his officials, "Can we find anyone else like this man so obviously filled with the Spirit of God?" Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has revealed the meaning of the dreams to you, clearly no one else is as intelligent or wise as you are. You will be in charge of my court, and all my people will take orders from you. Only I, sitting on my throne, will have a rank higher than yours." Pharaoh said to Joseph, "I hereby put you in charge of the entire land of Egypt." Then Pharaoh removed his signet ring from his hand and placed it on Joseph's finger. He dressed him in fine linen clothing and hung a gold chain around his neck. Then he had Joseph ride in the chariot reserved for his second in command. And wherever Joseph went, the command was shouted, "Kneel down." So Pharaoh put Joseph in charge of all Egypt. And Pharaoh said to him, "I am Pharaoh, but no one will lift a hand or foot in the entire land of Egypt without your approval." Then Pharaoh gave Joseph a new Egyptian name. Oh my goodness. Zephanath-Paneah. Zephanath-Paneah. Zaphenaathpaneah. I don't know. There's the way they've got it here. I don't know if it's Zephanath-Paneah or Zephanath-Paneah. I don't know. Anyway, you got it. He also gave him a wife whose name was Asenath. She was the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On. So Joseph took charge of the entire land of Egypt. He was 30 years old when he began serving in the court of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And when Joseph left Pharaoh's presence, he inspected the entire land of Egypt. I bet that took a while. As predicted, for 7 years the land produced bumper crops. During those years, Joseph gathered all the crops grown in Egypt and stored the grain from the surrounding fields in the cities. He piled up huge amounts of grain like sand on the seashore. Finally, he stopped keeping records because there was too much to measure. During this time, before the first of the famine years, 2 sons were born to Joseph and his wife Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, the priest of On. Joseph named his older son Manasseh, for he said, "God has made me forget all my troubles and every one of my father's family." Joseph named his second son Ephraim, for he said, "God has made me fruitful in this land of my grief." At last, the 7 years of bumper crops throughout the land of Egypt came to an end. Then the 7 years of famine began, just as Joseph had predicted. The famine also struck all the surrounding countries, but throughout Egypt there was plenty of food. Eventually, however, the famine spread throughout the land of Egypt as well. And when the people cried to Pharaoh for food, he told them, Go to Joseph and do whatever he tells you. So with severe famine everywhere, Joseph opened up the storehouses and distributed grain to the Egyptians. For the famine was severe throughout the land of Egypt, and people from all around came to Egypt to buy grain from Joseph, because the famine was severe throughout the world. That's 41. I told you it was a little long. That's all right, though. How long is 42? It's a little lengthy, too. I think we will do 42. Might as well, huh? And the shirt's like, was choking me off while I was trying to read there a little bit. Throat's a little scratchy. I don't know, I haven't felt real well the last couple of days. It's like weak and almost feels like my skin crawling or something. It's very weird. I don't know. Me and my wife had to help my mom get a new phone. And the Verizon corporate store in Anderson, everywhere is very low on stock. So we ended up at Walmart because they said, well, you can go there and steal a Verizon phone. I thought she was just going to get some little $100 jobber. I mean, that's all she needs. She's had a flip phone. So basic run-of-the-model smartphone, fine. I figured that's what she needs. I don't know how, but while we were in Walmart, I knew before we left my blood pressure was like 85 over 65. It was a little low. And I think maybe my blood sugar dropped too. I think between low blood pressure, low blood sugar, and I do have a panic disorder. I think I had a panic attack on top of all that. I thought I was going down in the Walmart. Stuff started going black, very lightheaded, very dizzy, very weak. I thought I was going down. So a couple times I felt like that. When I feel like that, I get up, I walk around, figure if it's low blood pressure, that'll get my blood circulating better. It'll get my blood pressure up a little bit, get my heart rate up a little bit, make things better. And if it's panic attack, it gets my mind occupied. Now, if it's low blood sugar, walking around is only going to make it worse. So, but I always carry peppermints in my pocket, and I ate like 3 peppermints, which is like, I don't know, 9 to 15 grams of carbs. I don't know. Enough to keep from crashing if you're low blood sugar. But my wife, she's like, you need to take a Xanax. I'm like, I don't want a full one. I said, I won't be able to drive home. I'll be so tired. And she said, well, take a half. I said, no, I'll take a quarter. Give me a quarter of one. She said, the way you're feeling and the way you're acting, I don't think quarter is going to do the job. You better take a half. I'm like, fine, whatever, give me a half. And about 15 minutes later, I actually felt better. So I think part of it was a panic attack. I think the rest of it could have been partially low blood pressure coupled with low blood sugar. And I think you add all 3 of them up, that's a recipe for, I'm about to hit the ground. Anywho, when I got back from walking around, my mother had bought a S21, about $600. I was like, seriously? I thought you were just going to get an old cheap $100 phone. But anyway, last couple of days, I don't know, I haven't felt right, felt off. Maybe I thought, well, maybe I'm coming down with something. I don't know, maybe I got the COVID. I've been, I've had the shot, both of them. So if it is COVID, I mean, what it is, it's not bad. I mean, breathing fine. I just weak, everything tastes fine. Trust me, I had chicken and mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese and biscuits and coleslaw and 2 chocolate chip cookies, all from KFC. And trust me, it all tasted just fine. My smell is working fine, so I don't think it's COVID. If it is, it's because of the shots, it's very, very mild. But something's going on because I get feel like I said, my skin feels like it's crawling. all kind of dizzy, lightheaded, very, very weak, tired. Um, I don't know. Could it be common cold? Could be allergies. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on. It needs to go away, whatever it is. All right, let's do 42. If my scratchy voice will allow it here. 42. When Jacob heard that grain was available in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you standing around looking at one another? I have heard there is grain in Egypt. Go down there and buy enough grain to keep us alive. Otherwise, we'll die." So Joseph's 10 older brothers, the ones that sold him into slavery, I might add, went down to Egypt to buy grain. But Jacob wouldn't let Joseph's younger brother Benjamin go with him for fear some harm might come to him. So Jacob's sons arrived in Egypt along with others to buy food, for the famine was in Canaan as well. Since Joseph was governor of all Egypt and in charge of selling grain to all the people, it was to him that his brothers came. When they arrived, they bowed before him with their faces to the ground. Joseph recognized his brothers instantly, but he pretended to be a stranger and spoke harshly to them. "Where are you from?" he demanded. And see, he recognized them instantly, but they didn't recognize him. That's because they didn't like him. "From the land of Canaan," they replied. "We have come to buy food." Although Joseph recognized his brothers, they didn't recognize him. He remembered the dreams he'd had about them many years before. He said to them, "You are spies. You have come to see how vulnerable our land has become." "No, my lord," they exclaimed. "Your servants have simply come to buy food. We are all brothers, members of the same family. We are honest men, sir. We are not spies." I don't know about honest. "Yes, you are," Joseph insisted. "You have come to see how vulnerable our land has become." "Sir," they said, there are actually 12 of us. We, your servants, are all brothers, sons of a man living in the land of Canaan. Our youngest brother is back there with our father right now, and one of our brothers is no longer with us." Yeah, because you sold him into slavery. But Joseph insisted, "As I said, you are spies. This is how I will test your story. I swear by the life of Pharaoh that you will never leave Egypt unless your youngest brother comes here. One of you must go and get your brother. I'll keep the rest of you here in prison. Then we'll find out whether or not your story is true. By the life of Pharaoh, if it turns out that you don't have a younger brother, then I'll know you are spies." So Joseph put them all in prison for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Joseph said to them, "I am a God-fearing man. If you do as I say, you will live. If you really are honest men, choose one of your brothers to remain in prison. The rest of you may go home with grain for your starving families. But you must bring your youngest brother back to me. This will prove that you are telling the truth, and you will not die." To this they agreed. Speaking among themselves, they said, "Clearly, we are being punished because of what we did to Joseph long ago." Didn't even recognize he was standing right in front of you, dummies. "We saw his anguish when he pleaded for his life, but we wouldn't listen. That's why we're in this trouble." You think? "Didn't I tell you not to sin against the boy?" Reuben asked. "But you wouldn't listen, and now we have to answer for his blood." Of course, they didn't know that Joseph understood them, for he had been speaking to them through an interpreter. Now he turned away from them and began to weep. When he regained his composure, he spoke to them again. Then he chose Simeon, S-I-M-E-O-N. I don't know if it's Simeon or Simon, from among them, and had him tied up right before their eyes. Joseph then ordered his servants to fill the men's sacks with grain, but he also gave secret instructions to return each brother's payment at the top of his sack. He also gave them supplies for their journey home. So the brothers loaded their donkeys with the grain and headed for home. But when they stopped for the night, and one of them opened his sack to get grain for his donkey, he found his money in the top of his sack. "Look," he exclaimed to his brothers, "my money has been returned. It's here in my sack." Then their hearts sank. Trembling, they said to each other, "What has God done to us?" "God hadn't done nothing to you. You did it to yourself, fools." When the brothers came to their father, Jacob, in the land of Canaan, They told him everything that had happened to them. The man who was governor of the land spoke very harshly to us, they told him. He accused us of being spies scouting the land. But we said, we are honest men, not spies. Well, you're not spies, but you're also not honest men. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father. One brother is no longer with us, and the youngest is at home with our father in the land of Canaan. Then the man who is governor of the land told us, this is how I will find out if you are honest men. Leave one of your brothers here with me and take grain for your starving families and go on home. But you must bring your youngest brother back to me. Then I will know you are honest men and not spies. Then I will give you back your brother, and you may trade freely in the land. As they emptied out their sacks, there in each man's sack was the bag of money he had paid for the grain. The brothers and their father were terrified when they saw the bags of money. Jacob exclaimed, you are robbing me of my children. Joseph is gone. Simon, or Simeon, is gone. And now you want to take Benjamin too? Everything is going against me. Well, it'd be your kids, Jacob. Then Reuben said to his father, you may kill my 2 sons if I don't bring Benjamin back to you. I'll be responsible for him, and I promise to bring him back. But Jacob replied, my son will not go down with you. His brother Joseph is dead, and he is all I have left. If anything should happen to him on your journey, you would send this grieving, white-haired man to his grave. That's 42. I think that's enough. Throat don't really hurt, it's just scratchy. Well, maybe it is allergies, I don't know. I have no idea. Well, that chicken was good. So deceitful brothers. I can't believe they didn't recognize Joseph. They must not care about him, think so little of him that they didn't even recognize their own brother. Ain't that something? Boy, said they're honest men. Yeah, you're so honest that you sold him into slavery. First, you put him into a daggum cistern, was just going to leave him there to die. And then you're like, nope, let's sell him, get you a little money. And then you told his dad that he was dead. Animals must have got him. Yeah, you're real honest men, aren't you? Not. Paying for it now, ain't they? Joseph's messing with them. Put their money back in their feed sacks. Told them they were spies. Messing with them. You know what? I think they deserve it for what they did to that boy. See, this is why you don't, no matter how jealous you are of a sibling, a friend, family member, what have you, neighbor, don't plot against them. Because a lot of people, you know, I talk about karma, and a lot of people are like, oh, there's no such thing as karma. Oh, but there is. It even says it in the Bible. It does not call it karma. It calls it something else. What does it say in the Bible? You shall reap what you sow. That's karma. Whatever you do is coming back to you. You do good, good's coming back to you. You do bad, bad's coming back to you. It's in the Bible. The very explanation of karma is in the Bible. You reap what you sow. That's karma. So, better watch that karma, people. You know, that's why, I screw up all the time. I'm not going to lie. I screw up all the daggum time. But I try to do more good than bad. Because of what it says in the Bible. You will reap what you sow. So I figure if I do more good than I do bad, then I'm going to reap just a little bit more good than bad things happening. You know what I mean? I mean, should strive to be, more holy man, more righteous man. Not going to lie, it's hard. When you've led the life I've lived, it's hard, you know. And I don't understand that. Some people who get saved, it just all gone, and it's very easy for them to not sin anymore. I'm not saying they don't. It's just easy for them to avoid temptation and doing wrong and stuff like that. And then others of us get saved, and you know, you can tell we're better. You know, we do a lot better than we used to do, but we still struggle with temptation. We still struggle with sin and stuff, and it's not so easy, is it? And I happen to be one of those individuals. You know, it's my cursing. It's hard. You know, that was a part of my life for so long. Like I say, old habits are hard to break. I'm not using that as an excuse. I'm just saying I struggle with it. I'm trying. You know, a lot of other things. I sin every day of my life. I struggle every day of my life. You know, as a Christian, I have got a long way to go. I mean, like I'm here, I need to be way over there, you know, one of those situations. But I do what I can do, you know. I read my Bible, I read it to myself, I read it with my wife, I read it for y'all. I pray every single day of my life. You know, I try to help others when I can. I think I could probably do more in that department. You know, it's not a matter of being greedy, not wanting to help others. It's more of a matter of being lazy, not wanting to get off my butt and do something. You know what I mean? I think it's more of that. It's, you know, if I could just, somebody showed up at my house and boom, here you go. I do that all day long. I got no problem with that because it doesn't require a lot of effort. See, I'm what you'd call a procrastinator. I'm what you'd call, well, because of my mental disorders and stuff, I've, you know, developed trying to think of the right words to say. I've developed good methods of getting out of stuff, avoiding stuff, creating my own little utopia here at the house where I don't have to leave the house kind of things. I've developed some slight agoraphobia over the years. It's not bad. I can still go places, you know, and I still have ambitions to go places. I want to go before I die, you know. I don't have how long I have left with this heart failure, but I want to go see things. I've never been to the Grand Canyon. I've never been to Texas before, believe it or not. I've never been there. I've never been to Canada before. I've never been there. I've been when I met my wife in Michigan. I've been right up to, like, she took me to the bridge. She said, "Cross this bridge, that's Canada." I've been that close, but I've never actually stepped foot into Canada. I want to do that someday. Never been to France. I've never been to. I'd like to go to Africa, see lions and stuff and tigers, but I'm also not stupid. I know that they'll eat me, so I think maybe I'll stick with Nat Geo for that one or something. You know what I mean? I have a healthy respect for larger animals. That's why I don't get in the ocean, because there's sharks and there's orcas and there's stuff in that ocean that will eat me. I'm not top of the food chain in the ocean, and I'm not top of the food chain in Africa. So I'm not going there. My wife actually wants to go to Australia. I'll never go. Because Australia, per capita, has more deadly creatures than any place on the freaking planet. I mean, for crying out loud, they got cone snails, they got man-o-war jellyfish, they have crocodiles, they got great white sharks, you got, I don't know how many poisonous spiders, how many poisonous snakes, you got scorpions, you got, I mean, everything in Australia is trying to kill you. Why would I want to go see that? I mean, you can keep that. I don't need to go. If I want to, you know, I got a VR headset that'll show me, it's kind of like Google Street Maps. I'll go to Australia that way and look around all I want. and I don't gotta leave the comfort of my home. Anyway, I've been rambling. I'll hop off here. Hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Hope you got something out of it. Until next time, I love each and every one of you. Y'all please, please, please be good to each other. And I'll bring you something again real soon.